Partnerships are the most flexible pass-through structure in U.S. tax law. Unlike an S corporation, a partnership can have unlimited partners, allocate income and loss in ways that do not match ownership percentages, and let partners include their share of entity debt in their own basis. That flexibility comes with real complexity, from guaranteed payments to a partnership-level audit regime to a rule that can turn capital gain into ordinary income on the sale of an interest. Let's walk through Form 1065. Form 1065 is the annual federal information return filed by partnerships and multi-member limited liability companies, or LLCs, taxed as partnerships. A partnership itself pays no federal income tax. Instead, all income, losses, deductions, and credits flow to partners through Schedule K-1 and are reported on each partner's own individual or corporate return. Compared to an S corporation, a partnership has far more room to maneuver. It can have unlimited partners, including corporations, trusts, and foreign persons. It can allocate income and loss in different proportions than ownership through special allocations with economic effect. Partners can include their share of entity-level debt in their outside basis, which enables bigger loss deductions. And ownership can be split across multiple classes: general partner and limited partner interests, preferred returns, and profits interests. Any entity classified as a partnership for federal tax purposes must file general partnerships, limited partnerships, limited liability partnerships, and multi-member LLCs, which default to partnership classification unless a corporation election is made. A single-member LLC does not file Form 1065 at all. It is a disregarded entity, so its activity flows straight to the owner's own return. The one exception is a single-member LLC owned by a partnership, which does get included in that partnership's Form 1065. The calendar year due date is March 15th, the same as S corporations, 1 month before individual returns, so partners can receive their K-1s in time for their own April 15th Form 1040. Fiscal year filers are due the 15th day of the third month after year-end. Form 7004 grants an automatic 6-month extension to September 15th, and since the partnership generally owes no federal income tax itself, there is usually no balance due with that extension. Schedule K-1 must reach every partner no later than the due date of the return, including extensions. Most partnerships are subject to BBA, the Bipartisan Budget Act, centralized audit rules. If the IRS adjusts a partnership's income on audit, the assessment is made at the partnership level and collected from the partnership itself at the highest individual rate, 37%, unless the partnership pushes the adjustment out to the partners who were actually in the partnership during the audited year. Every partnership subject to BBA must designate a partnership representative, someone with substantial presence in the United States who can bind all partners in that audit. Several schedules do the heavy lifting inside Form 1065. Schedule K captures every partner's total distributive share, the core pass-through schedule, and Schedule K-1 breaks that down individually for each partner, filed with the IRS and furnished to them. Schedule L reports balance sheets per books. Schedule M2 analyzes partners' capital accounts, and Schedule M3 handles detailed book-to-tax reconciliation for partnerships with $10 million or more in total assets. Form 8308 reports the sale or exchange of a partnership interest involving hot assets, due within 30 days of the transaction. The calculation itself starts with gross revenues from partnership operations. Rental income is not included there. It flows separately on Form 8825 as a separately stated item. Subtract cost of goods sold for product-based partnerships, which leaves gross profit. Then subtract ordinary deductions, salaries to non-partner employees, Guaranteed payments to partners for services or capital use, repairs, bad debts, rents, taxes, interest subject to Section 163J, and depreciation. What is left is ordinary business income or loss, reported on each partner's K1 Box 1 according to their profit allocation percentage. Ordinary business income is not the whole story. Schedule K carries separately stated items that keep their character when they reach the partner: capital gains and losses, unrecaptured Section 1250 gain, rental real estate income, interest and dividend income, Section 179 expense, charitable contributions, credits, and foreign taxes. Each partner receives their allocated share under the partnership agreement, but special allocations must have substantial economic effect under Section 704B to be respected. They cannot simply be driven by tax advantage. Each partner tracks outside basis: contributions plus their income share, minus their loss share limited to basis, minus distributions, minus any decrease in their share of liabilities. The key difference from an S-corporation is that a partner's basis includes their share of partnership liabilities, both recourse and non-recourse, which lets partners deduct losses beyond their direct cash investment. General partners and active LLC members owe self-employment tax on ordinary income plus guaranteed payments, while limited partners generally do not, except on guaranteed payments. A Section 754 election adjusts inside basis when a partner sells or dies, and each partner still claims their own 20% qualified business income deduction, QBI, on Form 1040. Schedule K2 and Schedule K3 are required whenever a partnership has any item that could affect a partner's foreign tax credit, a global intangible low-taxed income inclusion, that is GILTI, or any other international tax position. Many domestic partnerships with no direct foreign activity still have to file them because they hold mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, or fund-of-funds positions with foreign holdings buried inside. The penalty for skipping it is $270 per K3 per partner, so international exposure deserves a careful look before anyone assumes it does not apply. This distinction trips up more partnerships than almost anything else on the return. Guaranteed payments are fixed amounts paid to partners without regard to income. They are deductible at the entity level, ordinary income to the recipient, and subject to self-employment tax for general partners. Distributions are the opposite on every count. They are not deductible, they are not income, and they simply reduce the partner's basis. Mischaracterizing one as the other creates deduction errors, self-employment tax errors, and capital account errors all at once. Two more pitfalls sit right at the compliance core. The IRS requires capital accounts to be maintained under one of four methods, most commonly the Section 704B book value method, and capital accounts are not the same thing as tax basis. Negative capital accounts can trigger deficit restoration obligations on liquidation, so Schedule M2 has to accurately reflect every contribution, allocation, and distribution. Separately, the partnership representative required under BBA can bind every partner in an audit, so partners should negotiate push-out elections into the partnership agreement in advance to make sure adjustments get paid by the correct year's partners at their own actual tax rates. When a partner sells or exchanges their partnership interest, amounts attributable to unrealized receivables and inventory items, known as hot assets under Section 751, are treated as ordinary income, even when the rest of the transaction would otherwise generate capital gain. That recharacterization can significantly increase the tax cost of exiting a partnership interest, and it catches sellers off guard because they are pricing the deal expecting capital gain treatment throughout. Form 8308 must be filed within 30 days of a covered exchange. Filing Form 1065 accurately starts with organized records. That means the current partnership agreement and every amendment, covering allocation, guaranteed payment and buy-sell provisions, a full partner roster with allocation percentages and ownership changes, capital account records, outside basis schedules for each partner, and details on partnership liabilities split between recourse, non-recourse, and qualified non-recourse. Add the fixed asset and depreciation register, the Section 754 election status, international items for K2 and K3, and any transfers of partnership interests under Section 751. Here is what to carry forward. A partnership pays no federal income tax itself. Income and separately stated items pass through via Schedule K1. An outside basis includes each partner's share of entity debt, which is a real advantage over an S-corporation. Watch four things closely: guaranteed payments versus distributions, capital account maintenance under Section 704B, the partnership representative's authority under BBA, and Section 751 hot assets on any sale of an interest. Get the partnership agreement, capital accounts, and basis schedules organized early, and this filing becomes far more manageable.